Redneck Rampage is a first-person shooter developed by Xatrix Entertainment, released in 1997. It runs on the build engine and features gameplay similar to other games of its era, like Duke Nukem 3D and Shadow Warrior. As the title suggests, the game features many hillbilly and redneck references, which sound good on paper. However, 16 years after its release, I've finally come to realise that Redneck Rampage is absolute garbage. Let's start with the positive features. For such an old game, it does look kinda cool. The texture work is very detailed, the art style is unique and cartoonish, and the sound effects and music, particularly the tracks on the audio CD, are top-notch and fit in perfectly. The weapons are creative and inventive, and when you're actually given ammo for the more powerful weapons, the game truly shines. Though these moments are fleeting, as Redneck Rampage on the whole is a game that has very little redeeming features. Its major fault is the hit detection, which is just horrible. Compared to other games on the build engine, it is by far the worst and just piss poor in general. The weapons just don't feel right, like, at all. In a game where you're shooting guns 99% of the time, to have weapons being fundamentally bad, well, it's just not cricket. It's most noticeable with weapons like the dynamite launcher and the saw blades. The crosshair itself has no bearing whatsoever, as shots skew off to the side or inexplicably miss your target by a Dutch mile. The other issue is that the weapons generally feel underwhelming and unsatisfying. The shotgun, a staple of the FPS genre, has been reduced to near uselessness in Redneck Rampage. This isn't alleviated by the bullet sponge design of the enemies either. A perfect example is how many point-blank shotgun blasts it takes to kill a dog. Like, take a guess. What would you say, maybe 1 or 2? No, not even close. In Redneck Rampage, it can take up to 5 or 6 shots. Let me repeat that. 6 fucking close-range shotgun blasts to kill a dog. Excuse my French, but that is some goddamn bullshit. And don't even get me started on the alien enemies that take up to 8 direct hits from the dynamite launcher. Now consider that ammo for the powerful guns is something of a rarity, and you're often without ammo for anything but the pistol or shotgun. The pistol itself being useless against pretty much, well, every single enemy in the game. I'm not even kidding, look at this thing. Look at the firing rate of this piece of shit. Now look at the pistol rate in, say, Duke Nukem 3D. It's the bad design choices like this in Redneck Rampage that are in abundance, and it feels like it was a game made by people who didn't even know what the hell they were doing. Even the health system in this game fails. In lieu of health kits, instead you pick up whiskey, beer and moon pies. Which sounds original and all that, except drinking too much gets you drunk, obviously. Which in turn means the controls try to simulate the player's inebriation, meaning you literally cannot walk straight, essentially breaking the controls for a short period. Who the hell thought this was a good idea? It's retarded! Using these items to revive your health is made redundant by the fact that you can't even fucking move properly. You may as well just die and load a quick save. And you will be doing a lot of reloading here, mostly because enemy placements are abundant and it doesn't lend itself to a run and gun approach, even on the lower difficulty settings. Not to mention the levels are plagued with bland design and repetitive key hunting, where you're always required to find keys hidden in obscure, hard to reach places. The first level, for instance, requires you to blow up a hole in the side of a silo to progress. The way this is indicated is by a bullseye painted on the side of the silo, but how in the hell would you know that the first time through?
Real good.
Then after doing that, you still need to find 2 other well-hidden keys, which are almost on completely opposite sides of the map. My first playthrough for this took me almost 40 minutes to complete. This is the first level of the game.
Put away with.
40 minutes for what is essentially an intro. That's way too long. Now let's go back to Duke Nukem 3D and the Hollywood Holocaust level as a comparison. Sure, it's large and there's lots to do, but even on a first playthrough, you're not going to take longer than maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops. And that's even with exploring and trying to get as much stuff as possible. But look, I can appreciate what Redneck Rampage was trying to do. They tried to take a fresh spin on the FPS formula, and it does kind of work on that level, often feeling like something you see on Adult Swim or Nickelodeon. The protagonist Leonard drinks beer and whiskey while he farts, pisses and misquotes well-known phrases, and the guy who does Leonard's voice does a really good job with it.
With the bull, you get the horn.
It's definitely got a bit of charm, and the overall feel is very original, but so were a lot of games from back then anyway. There's a few levels later on that are actually quite decent, where they designed them so you progress through properly, instead of just running in circles in the same place over and over until you find the next key. But you can't overlook the fact that this is just a bad game on so many levels. The underlying factor here is that it's just not very fun to play. There's an enemy you encounter later on that walks around throwing its feces at you. It's not there throughout the entire story, but it does come up quite frequently, and I think that's a good metaphor for Redneck Rampage in general. The game has its moments, but most of the time it's just shit getting thrown at you. The good old games.com version does come with 2 expansion packs, but even then, I wouldn't really recommend this to anyone. If you're into old school shooters, you can do so much better.